What's up everyone, Tilna from Melbourne today. So we are back with another episode, and the episode heading, I actually thought about it quite a lot and I actually came up with this. I used to drink 6 eggs raw for 1 year. So this is actually based on the things I used to do when I started. We all do mistakes when we start our fitness journey, and it's all about learning from mistakes and moving forward from there. So I'm gonna actually break it down into few categories, how I actually started in the first 6 years, how my fitness journey went. And how I actually started initially was actually a funny story. Was the fact that what inspired me to actually get into doing exercises, and also how I felt in high school when I first started, how it was like being a skinny kid who did not do a sport or wasn't active at the time. And but a few years later, I actually ended up becoming a pro athlete and also won my first 7 shows at a stretch. And also that led me towards winning a pro card first time, and a few years later I ended up competing more. And for the past 10 years I've been 9 years I've been competing, and my next competition is gonna be in 2 years time. So how I evolved through time, when I actually went through this process, that's the topic I'm going to be talking about. And it led me towards becoming the president of IC in Sri Lanka as well. Now I'm actually helping busy professionals get into their best shape without food restrictions or doing cardio, because the reason being I've been here doing a lot of mistakes myself, and I know the mistakes people make when they first start their fitness journey. And I understand the mindset because I've been there myself in most cases, and I also understand what it's like to be in the workforce, doing what you've been doing, and how hard it is, especially when it comes to focusing on your health and fitness. But in my fitness journey, I did not use those things as an excuse, but I kept moving forward, and here I am. When I started was at the year 2007, and also now it's 2025, and I'm still here and I'm still doing it. Now I'm not just doing it, I'm actually helping other people, and how my story went. So let's go ahead into where I started. So back in 2007, when I finished school, I was 19 years old, and I was actually under 50 kilos. And I had, I would say I was very skinny, but I always was obsessed how bodybuilders looked back then, and how it is possible for me to get there one day. I did not want to become a bodybuilder, but I wanted to go from point A to point B, improve my physique and not be skinny anymore, and be a stronger version of myself. So now I know what it's like. And also I've seen a lot of people back in the day who was active not active anymore, and that actually makes me even hungrier for more to actually help people to get into their best shape. So let's deep dive into this podcast episode, and let's go into this detail. So when I actually started my fitness journey, I wasn't actually perfect. So what led me towards working out initially was actually the Rocky movie series. So I watched the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, sixth one. So all 6 inspired the fuck out of me. So I would say Sylvester Stallone is still my inspiration. It was not Arnold Schwarzenegger who inspired me to actually lift weights. It was Sylvester Stallone, and he was a boxer, and I did not want to do boxing, and I just wanted to build a physique like that. The things which are I wanted to build when I first started was actually my delts, to be really honest. I was wondering how you can get this defined, and I was actually wondering what exercises you're supposed to do. So as I actually move forward with this fitness journey, I realized it's not about the exercises which will get you that definition. It was actually pretty much one simple thing: being in a calorie deficit while lifting weights and hitting your protein goals. So that's actually a different topic on another day. So that's where I actually improved. So being skinny wasn't actually easy at the time. I got pushed around a lot, and people were bullying me a lot. So many things were going around, and it was hard for me. And also at the same time, I saw a lot of people in my friend circle having a lot of medals in school and being popular in school, and it was something I always wanted. And as a kid, I always realized didn't know why it was not happening with me. Why am I like this? But a few years later, it all made sense. Why I did not have medals till 27 years old. I was 28 when I first competed, 27, 28 when I first competed, and that's where all these medals you can see behind came across. So you're never too late to start anything if you have nothing to do. Like whether you're 40, 35 or 30 or like 50, even 50 or 60, it doesn't matter. Age is just a number. Because my recent athlete who's going to be competing like next month, he's actually like, he started his fitness journey 5 years ago, and looking at him now, like he's actually built an amazing physique, and he's living in Sydney and I'm in Melbourne, and he's actually like looking forward to seeing him compete. And I'm gonna talk about him like later down the line, and when he actually wins his shows, because definitely that's gonna be a pretty amazing story, because the guy is 40 plus and he works like a machine. So, and at the same time, last week I had a very another amazing story to say. Like, is the fact that like my first vegan athlete competed, and he ended up becoming a double pro. So he actually won men's physique pro card and also men's bodybuilding pro card. So I had a goal written like 3 years ago on my morning affirmations. Is the fact that like one day I will create 5 pro cards for athletes. So that guy bought the 5th one and the 6th one. So the only division which I did not have a client who won a pro card was bodybuilding, and that was actually accomplished that day. And I'm really proud of the guy, because he worked really hard, and he was from India, and he traveled to Dubai. Like, still, while he was actually at a busiest schedule, he was actually working. Like, he was working 45 days night shifts constantly, never had an excuse, and another 45 days day shifts. Never had an excuse whatsoever, whatever the hell he was going through. So talk about the main story I want to talk about. So if you watch the Rocky movie series, like I think it was the first, I've watched it like so many times, like over and over again. One of the things you actually like catch your eye is the fact that like when Rocky decides to compete with fight Apollo Creed, when he gets the opportunity, when he starts the training, he wakes up in the morning, he drinks 6 eggs, and he goes for a run with his dog. I think his name was Buster. So story is the fact that Buster is actually like his real dog as well. So that's another story. Like if you read his story, you probably like know about it. So when I actually like started the first 6 years, all I did was lifting weights, and I did not focus on anything else other than that. Like lifting weights actually like made me feel good, and I put on like 20-25 kilos, and most of it wasn't actually even muscles, but at the time I was 17 or like 18 or 19. So during that time I actually had a pretty good growth, because I had a beginner's gains. So I think I put on a lot of muscles during that time, even though I wasn't focusing on the nutrition side of things. I focused on like eating a lot, and I focused on like lifting a lot. So that's all I did back in the day. And little did I know, in 2009 I went back and came to Australia for my degree, like bachelor's in finance. And while I was actually doing that, I started like the process here as well. I did not like stop. And I thought like initially like it's gonna make things harder, but like I did not. One thing which kept me going like during the time when life got harder was actually going to the gym. Like I never gave up on that, and I always kept moving forward with that. So that's where like it led me towards the first 5 years in my fitness journey, where I wasn't actually like focusing on nutrition side of things. Even though a little bit of me knew like it was nutrition which was actually going to get the results, but I always focused on the workouts which are on the internet. Like I think it was bodybuilding.com, which I actually like watched, read a lot. And also like as a beginner, I gave everything I had. And then with the workouts, like I told in my previous podcast, like I used workouts as punishments, and that was actually a big mistake. And just like that, you make mistakes in life, but at the end of the day, what really matters is actually you learning. So this led me towards 2013, like 6 years into my fitness journey. Everybody in my circle knew that like I was lifting weights, and I built up a reputation to a certain extent, but I wasn't actually at the place I wanted to be. Like I wasn't having a six-pack like at the level I wanted to have. I always imagined me having it, but I did not get it the way I wanted. So that led me towards actually like doing the process correctly. Like even though I was actually focusing on nutrition, I wasn't actually knowing, like I did not know what counting calories were back then. So as a beginner, like you still make mistakes, but mistakes are the ones which actually sharpens the outcome you're gonna get. So little did I know, like by 2014, like 1 year into like doing things right, like I finally had a six pack, finally had body fat, less body fat, but still I wasn't actually like happy. I didn't because people around me told me a lot, like the fact that like so many things like bodybuilding was a mental disorder, and at the time like people thought like I was actually doing it to attract girls, but it was not exactly that. Deep down I knew like I was doing it for myself, and I wanted to do something for that kid in 2007 who actually struggled back in the day. So I understand like some people do think that way. Like I do say like people who say the fact that like you do this for girls is actually like coming from a narrow-minded place. To be really honest with you, that's what I believe, and you can say like I'm wrong, but I do believe like if people say that, haven't come across anyone who say that right now, but like back in the day I heard so many things like that, and it came from a narrow-minded places. That's where like I actually like changed my circle of group I was actually hanging out with. But honestly, I never gave up. Like no matter what happened, like I never gave up. So in 2015, I had a very bad situation in my life, and that led me towards keep being more hungrier towards this. And for like a few months, like I wasn't actually consistent with the gym. So, but that's when I actually started doing Instagram. So back in the day, like Instagram was one way of me like posting my journey, because I was always wondering like where I needed to post my story, like where am I gonna talk about my story. And people around me actually left me because of that, thinking that I'm actually like being I don't know what their thought process was, but people thought like I was actually doing it to get attention. I wasn't actually like doing that, like to be really honest. Even if I think about it right now, I was actually doing it for the purpose of inspiring people, because one day I wanted to become somebody who will actually give it back to other people. So that was my purpose, and I'm living that purpose today, and I'm happiest place in my life doing that. So, but back in the day, drinking 6 eggs in the morning for 1 year wasn't actually the best idea, because I could have easily cooked those eggs. But back in the day, I also thought like adding salt for food wasn't actually the best way to actually get lean. It'll actually like make you gain body fat, but it's not true either. You need salt. That's a different topic I'm gonna talk about. So either way, back in the time, one of the things I did not have was actually access to a coach. So I was actually doing things by my own, and which led me towards meeting my first coach in 2015. And that's where I actually started doing the process right. And by the time I had 8 years of doing this, not on and off, I was on right throughout the process, but I wasn't in the right direction doing it. So my coach back in the day was Gan Pereira, and he actually said like one of my friends actually told me that I should compete, and I did not know like a person like me like could compete, because back in the day I also thought bodybuilding isn't actually for guys like me, and it's not for me. Because the bodybuilders I saw back then was actually quite big and they were enhanced. So, but either way, that's when I actually got to know about a federation called INBA. So now it's actually ICN. So what led me towards was actually the first competition. Like I actually like when I actually got access to a coach, I wasn't actually in a position to like manipulate that. Like I wasn't actually in the mindset of like hiring a coach and not following things. I used that coach. I actually got the coach's coaching as an opportunity for me to get the maximum potential out of it. So I was in that mindset. So didn't matter like what I was going through, whether I had issues with my visa or like whatever the fuck I was going through, whether I had night shifts, whether I had day shifts, or whether I had too much work or less work, it didn't really matter to me. All I ever did was doing whatever the fuck my coach told me, and that led me towards my first competition. The date was April 2nd, 2016, and I went into the stage. I didn't even practice posing, but like 3 days before the show, like I practiced posing, and I also made the mistake of stopping water, which was actually a big mistake, but I actually corrected it. And what happened was actually like I ended up winning the show. And the guy who actually like I won against was quite big. And I was wondering like before I actually stepped into the stage, my coach was telling me that guy is big, but don't worry, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do better and you're gonna win this, because this division is actually for the people who are lean. And I was still afraid. Like it actually, like even though my coach gave me a good pep talk, I was still like not feeling confident about it. But what really happened was a funny thing happened that day. So minutes before I actually took the stage, that guy came to me, like the big guy, and he said, "Hey man, you look so amazing, and your abs are like superb." And I was like, shit. He actually said that. So that's when I actually knew that I'm gonna win this. So I went onto the stage, did my best, and then they announced number 3, 2, and now once they actually announced the runner-up, I knew I was the winner, because the runner-up was the guy who I thought was gonna be a competition for me. And one of the things I saw when I actually was looking at those pictures of my first show was the fact that while I was actually flexing my abs in my division, that guy was not like posing in front of the judges, but he was actually looking at my abs. So that was actually like something which I did not know was possible. But either way, hats off to that guy, because he actually gave me a push which I didn't think I was gonna get. So ended up winning that. And once I won that, like things changed, and things actually turned around quite amazingly. So when I won that first show, like that actually gave me the courage to keep going, and I realized my potential back in the day. Like I know people told me, like some people around my circle told me about my potential, but I really didn't believe it at the time. So that was because like the fact that like, I came from a background of like being weak, and also struggled a lot like with the way I looked. And I also been called like too skinny quite a lot of times. So that was mainly the reason. So sometimes I actually like back in the day, like I actually went back into that place quite a lot. So deep down, I always felt that skinny kid. So even today, like sometimes when I actually struggle, one of the things I actually go through is actually like I've always like feel like that skinny kid sometimes. But the things I'm doing today, like to improve myself, is actually to become an inspiration for that skinny kid who I was back in the day in 2007. So once I actually won that show, like that was when I was actually 27, and I never won a medal back in the day, and it felt really good to finally win something and be first place at something. So that led me towards my second show, and that was also another show, and that show as well, like I ended up winning again. So there was actually 3 shows back to back, which I have won. So because I competed in 2 categories and I won both of them back in the time. And then I actually went to another show, which was actually 2 weeks later. And funny thing happened night before that show, which was actually like I had an accident, like a small accident. But still, I didn't stop me. Next morning, I went on. Like that's when I actually realized that I'm gonna win this shit, and ended up winning 2 more shows again. Like I ended up being first place. So then I had like 5 shows back to back. So which led me towards the biggest show. With the medal you see right here is actually the story I'm gonna say. So back in the time, there was actually like a belief like in a lot of people, like including myself, when you go back to Sri Lanka like for like a vacation, you will actually lose shape, and that's what's gonna happen. But I wanted to challenge that because I was in a mindset of winning the Victorian state title. So so what happened was I was actually like there for like 4 weeks time. And during that time, like all I did was actually like eating the food and not eating the food when other people were eating. I wasn't actually getting cravings whatsoever. The reason being, my eyes were actually on a title of becoming a champion. And that was actually like what I was going to happen. And I was actually not going to stop at anything. So what happened was actually like, So what happened was actually like the fact that like, when I was actually going through that prep, like I had the food, everything was in order, and I was getting leaner and leaner, and every day I was actually hitting the gym, and I was getting things done. All I ever did was religiously following the coach's protocol, and that's what my athletes do today, which is one of the reasons why some of them win pro cards and some of them don't, because they don't actually follow the protocols. You get people like that. That's quite normal, because some of the athletes I work with, not just the BC professionals, their purpose is just to compete, not to win, and I understand that perspective. But sometimes I push them quite a lot. The reason being, I see a lot of potential in them. So I want to like make sure they understand that they have potential, not just to compete. I know like competing is a big achievement, but if you are having the potential to win, as a coach, my job is to make sure you tap into that potential. So That's where like you actually become a champion, because I've been there. So what happened was, like, I came back to Australia 2 weeks before the show, and I was actually lean. I did not lose shape whatsoever. So I actually broke that belief like many people had. And also like my people around me was eating quite a lot of food and didn't actually eat whatsoever. All I ever did was actually eating the food I was supposed to eat. So there was a wedding where I was a best man, and there were so many things which was happening around, but nothing ever stopped me. So the show day came, and it was actually 5 days after my birthday, 28th birthday, and it was a massive lineup, and I got like super afraid, because the reason being, I thought like there was no way I'm gonna win this, because this is actually 17 athletes are there. So I was like, what the hell am I doing here? So, but either way, I went on to the first show, which was the men's fitness novice division. So I did my posing, and almost while I was actually doing that, my coach was right in front, and he was saying this. I was waiting for that signal whether the pose is done right. So I was actually looking at him and like smiling and getting things done. So they announced number 5, 4, 3, 2, and they announced all these, but they didn't announce my name, because my goal was to actually, like, at the time, once I actually saw those 17 people, like, I actually said to myself, if I can actually be top 5, that'll be like amazing. But they announced my number was 299, and what really happened was amazing is the fact that like they called my name as number 1, and I ended up winning it. So this was actually that medal right here, Victorian State Champion. This was something which is actually closer to my heart. So that was actually the men's fitness novice division. So next came the open division. There was actually more than 10 athletes there. And what happened was quite amazing, because sometimes in life, when you are least expecting things, the most amazing things happen when you actually truly put in the work with true commitment. So, which ended up making me win that show as well. They said 299, and you are the champion. And yeah, so that was actually an amazing feeling, and I was actually standing right in the middle with a lot of people like who were actually Australians, like all sorts of races, and I was actually shit. I did this 9 years into my journey, and I actually became a champion finally, and I felt like it. That's where I actually ended up winning my first pro card, which is what led me towards the path of becoming a coach. Because once I actually won that, I knew I was not going to stop competing. I'm going to keep on doing this. And after winning this massive medal, and then what happened was, it led me towards the path of like helping others. Yes, I did mistakes when I started. That's another story on another day, but I'll talk about it. However, today I'm actually here because of those work I put in. So a lot of people actually say is the fact that like when I actually like get inquiries of clients, sometimes people say like, okay, you are a coach and you don't have to like work, or you don't have kids and you don't have like to go to work and all of that stuff. But till about 2019, while I was competing, I was doing all the work which a general population does. I was doing night shifts, and I actually even competed in Italy, and I won a show there where I actually became a world champion. And in 2022 I competed again, and I actually won there as well. There were some second places, third places and fifth places there, and there was a bunch of medals by the time I actually am here today. So just like that, I want to let you know is the fact that like if you are thinking that age is the problem, that you haven't won anything in life, never like put yourself down. Always think that age is just a number. If you truly put in the work dedicatedly, you're gonna win something, and it's gonna be worth it, and it's gonna pay dividends later down the line, the work you put in. So it's like deposits you put in the bank. You put in the deposits become the hard work. When you put in the hard work, one day it will pay dividends. So that's my story. Like up until 2024, last year when I competed, I won another pro card. That was another achievement I made. And also I've become a champions coach as well, like in the past few years since I became a coach. Because what I wanted was, when I actually ended up winning my competitions, I wanted to give it back to someone else who was actually in the same situation as me. And it's been a privilege helping thousands of individuals, busy professionals, losing weight, getting to the best shape of their life, and also helping athletes compete and to win their shows. So it's been a privilege doing this, and I'm going to keep doing this for the rest of my life, because this is what I love doing. So this is my story, starting from drinking 6 eggs in the morning towards becoming a champion, and also becoming a skinny kid who actually had no idea why life was going to get throw me. But you actually deal with the punches life throws at you, because at the end of the day, Rocky said something amazing to his son, like in the 6th installment, is the fact that life isn't all about like how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So I decided to get life throw all the punches at me, but I just kept moving forward. To this day, I stand by that rule. You get hit, but you keep moving forward. So that's all. That's it for this podcast episode. Hope you enjoyed this. So if you like this podcast episode, give us a follow. Also, subscribe the podcast if that's what you're supposed to do. So also put in a review if you do like it, and if you have any suggestions, truly appreciate that. So have a great day, guys. Talk to you in the next episode, where I'm going to bring in an athlete who actually ended up winning his pro card last week.